conversation piece. Monogamy versus polygamy. Did I say that right? Yes. So let me just share my screen again real quick so I can pull up these definitions. All right, so first we have the definition of monogamy, which is the practice or state of being married to one person at a time. A practice or state of having a sexual relationship with only one partner. Zoology, in the animal world, a habit of having only one mate at a time. Your thoughts on monogamy?
Somebody else take it.
Don't all
Yo,
speak at once.
Are you gonna are you just saying that in regards to polygamy or just your thing on monogamy?
I mean, well, do you want me to read the definition of polygamy and then?
Yeah, I think it would be good for you to
versus?
say what we're because I mean,
okay,
you were saying
sure. Let me share my screen once again, and we'll get into what polygamy means. All right, polygamy, the practice or custom of having more than one wife or husband at the same time. Zoology, animalistic, and pattern of mating in which an animal has more than one mate. It's pretty much the same damn thing. And botany, a condition of bearing some flowers with stamens only, some with pistils only, and some with both on the same or different plants. So pretty much that's like a plant orgy.
Okay.
right.
We'll leave botany alone. We'll just stick with the noun meaning and the zoology meaning. So yeah, monogamy versus polygamy.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's just what people decide to choose for themselves, and what they decide, to choose with their partner or partners. If that's something they decide. I mean, I don't have a yay or nay. I mean, I'm not a polygamist, but I wouldn't go against people who may want to do that or live that way. I definitely have been in polygamous societies and lived in polygamous societies for a number of time. And we kind of do live in polygamous societies even here. I was talking about more in Africa, living in Africa, but in certain parts. But even here, you are a lot of times in polygamous societies because people are being polygamous without really having the, permission, having the, the real clarity around it, and I think in one way, when it's a polygamous society that's open, or people that have a understanding amongst themselves that's open, to me is very different than having something that is happening, but people are in it without, accepting it, or without saying they want to be a part of it. I have a bigger problem with that than with polygamy itself, so but I'm monogamous, and I don't know if I could ever be in a polygamous relationship. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say about it right now.
Okay, S, your thoughts?
I'm still gathering my thoughts.
You always have so much to say.
Nah, I'm gonna keep it short. I ain't gonna hold you, but God, you go
for
first.
an extended period of time. But I mean, by all means, please keep it short if that's what you want to do, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short.
Okay. No Epsom salt. Go for it, yeah.
What's your thoughts?
What you think. Oh, okay. I don't really have a foot in either race, but I am open to polygamy, just because who doesn't get tired of a motherfucker every now and then, right? And want to trade them out, That's how I see it sometimes. But no, it's really about building a community, and it's definitely about trust, because even within a polyamorous community, it's not like a free for all. It's not like, you get this, you get this, you get it. It doesn't necessarily work like that. It still is an open community of, sharing of people, and then just being open to that, and, just trusting that everybody is staying within that circle. And then, of course, making sure that everybody within that circle is safe. So I don't know. Um, yeah, to me, monogamy is cool, but there's different levels of it to me, and I can go on and say a lot more, but I'm not, time will do that for me, and, the things that we share. But yeah, I'm open for it, especially nowadays. I mean, because the bills is high. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. What? Listen, between how many times people have to, as hard as people have to work, yeah, let somebody else have sex with him like 2 or 3 times out the week. I'll take the other 3. Cause then I can get me time. You know what I'm saying? I get time to get my nails done, and my feet done, my hair done. I ain't got nobody worry. Where you at? Where you at? No, y'all. I listen.
Mm.
In most cases nowadays, depending on what state or country you're in, you damn near almost do it. If you're not fully married, you know what I'm saying, and you're not in an agreed monogamous relationship, you know what I'm saying, and even sometimes that, is questionable. Kanye, Kim, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, you in a polygamous relationship any damn way, you just don't know it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just don't know the other players,
Well,
right?
that's what I was talking about. But the polygamy without
Permission.
your permission and knowledge, huh?
That's what we're gonna call it. Polygamy without permission. That
Yeah,
sounds good.
And
permission and
yeah.
knowledge and
And
knowledge.
knowledge.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Which
Right.
I think is very dangerous.
It can be,
You know what I mean?
and that's why I think it would just be better to just be like open, like, look, I'm gonna need more than one of you, and you be looking at more than one of me, and I'm okay with that as long as that chick don't violate. You know what I mean? Like, there can be rules that come along, but I think that even unfortunately, and I'm a part of some polyamorous communities. I think that people still, depending on who the person is, they still like to go off and do sneaky shit. I think that adults like to still do sneaky shit because it's like a thrill. It's like that questionable, like, ooh, we shouldn't be doing this. This, kind of like, until that shit comes all out in the light, then it's just like, damn, it wasn't worth it. But you knew that. It wasn't worth it, Rebecca. But you knew that. You know what I'm saying? But it still is
Right.
that, you have people that kind of like just go after that. So it's just a matter of finding the right fit with it too. Because when you say polyamorous, most people think, most men think, yeah, who wouldn't want to have like 2 females? But some females would be, I would prefer to have 2 men. Like, who said that it had to be, a female male thing? You know, Sometimes you have some polyamorous relationships where there's just one female and she rotates between 5 males. It's not only males that have communities of females. It also works the other way, and then you have some that are even. So it's just all about the playing field, what people are into, what they want to get into, and then what they're open to.
Yeah, but I think it's a double standard though, because I think, you know, you'll find that people are open to polygamous relationships, meaning there's more women than there, and there's one man or whatever. But you'll find sometimes that men are not as open to that, in terms of there being more men or more than one man with that person that they're with. So
And that is true as well.
that becomes an issue sometimes as well. And that's where the double standard steps in, where you know when they're looking at polygamy versus polyandry, how it plays out in society and what people really consider, even in those societies, in most of the societies around the world, because I only think 2% of the societies around the polyandry left now. You know, I think there were more before, but now there's only about 2%. So, you know, also if people want to be in polygamous relationships and all those kind of things, they also have to be, if that other person wants, they also have to be open to that other person wanting something else as well. Not that it all just comes on your side. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It opens the door on both ways. And, you know, unfortunately, because of society and how it's viewed, it still is something very taboo. So that is something else that kind of comes along with it too. It's just like, you know, if you do, I mean, society is more open to it now, but it was definitely something that is shunned. And, you know, depending on what your community is, yeah, you know, it still is something that is looked at or looked down upon or looked, you know, at as controversial or ungodly or whatever, you know. So yeah.
Right. You're doing a lot of over there, so.
You know, that's
A
all
lot
I
of
hear.
wiping,
I'm listening.
a lot of face wiping, a lot of, you know,
You
a lot of
know,
I'm
hats off.
listening. I'm listening.
I hear you doing a lot of listening. A lot of
I'm
listening.
listening. I'm listening. I'm
I
listening.
hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
I'm listening.
Your thoughts?
All right. Well, I'm gonna break it down to two different sides, right? One is to me natural, and one is society. So for me, I truly believe that it's just human nature for it to be uh, a male and multiple women, right? I got many different reasons why I believe that, but one of them is just based off the pure numbers, right? There's just a lot more women than it is men. Then also, it's the way women connect biologically to a man. That doesn't happen for a man to a woman in the same biological way. So when a woman has sex with a man, she biologically becomes attached to him. Sort of the same way she becomes biologically attached to her child. There's a certain hormone that is released in a woman when she has sex with a male. And it's the same hormone that's released when she gives birth to a male. The only time that hormone's released in a male is when he's in the same household with the child, um, with a child, and that causes that same attachment. So a lot of times you'll see a guy who's in a relationship and it's not really working out, and it seems like it's giving some bogus excuse of I'm only there for the child. But if he grew up in that household with that young child, there's some validity to what he's saying, because that hormone's released that has him attached to to being in the house with the child. Okay. The other side of that is society, and society doesn't make it okay. And let's keep it real. This is not, as Black people, this is not truly our society. We grew up in a whole different society, and in our society, from the information I gathered, we were never a monogamous group of people. We were never. That was never our thing. This is what society here has shown us. So to make a long story short, because like I said, I wasn't gonna go along with it. To make a long story short, I feel like the thing that creates normalcy in society is art. There's many stories, art pieces, songs of that nature that create normalcy in certain things that are not necessarily part of the culture. For instance, I can remember a long time ago when we were growing up, where women having sex with other women was a no-no. It was the popular phrase that I remember so fondly as a youth was strictly dickly. I'm strictly dickly, right? This was the phrase. But society, the songs, my girl got a girlfriend, my girl got and all of a sudden it is normal. I wouldn't bat an eye at a woman who was into another woman and still into me. I wouldn't bat an eye. It's become part of the normalcy. Now, I believe polygamy could actually be like that because I feel it's actually needed. I feel we making a lot of weak ass niggas these days and weak ass kids these days because a woman now is forced to look for the nigga who ain't taken. Probably some old weak ass nigga instead of the strong ass nigga that she really want, but she can't get him because somebody else got him. If she was able to get with that nigga and he was able to be strong enough to take care of her and the other woman, then it would be a bunch of strong ass, great gene DNA related kids in a strong family dynamic where the man as the head, obviously, if he's going to be the head, he's got to be strong. He's got to have an ability to protect, and he has to have an ability to take care of and be compassionate and be able to, be able to have that sort of charisma and understanding and touch and charm to even keep those two women happy and satisfied. So that's one. But I feel like if they had a movie, a series, or something that promoted it and made it look cool, the same way wearing natural hair was out of the question when we were younger. It was perm, 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 perm. But as soon as somebody made it look cool and it was in the magazines and it was in pictures and it was this and that, all of a sudden it became like, maybe I will cut this perm off. And I feel like it's the same thing for the ideal of a polyamorous relationship or a polygamous relationship. It has to look cool. It has to look inviting. It has to look enchanting. And that's not to say it's not going to have its issues, because every relationship has its issues. But I just feel like we are an art push away of it looking cool and sexy and something inviting and something that can actually work for us to get there. Now I'm gonna stop there because I could go on and on and on and on and on. This is a topic very dear to my heart. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I was gonna comment on something that you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll just keep it brief. The one thing I'll say is I completely understand where you're coming from with the societal thing. I'm just gonna say, even back in the day when we were younger and people were like, I'm strictly dickly, like you said, they were still doing that shit in the closet. And that even dates back like to the 20s and the 40s, like when you look at, and that's why I said it was something that is taboo and was like looked down upon, and it's still, to a certain extent, big polyamorous communities are still very private and excluded, you know what I'm saying, and very protective of, their own. And that's part of the reason that they are, because they still are highly judged by those, you could just say those old Christian views, you know what I'm saying, those old Confederate, conservative views that still push through today, unfortunately due to dickheads like Trump, go figure, and still make it okay for people to push their ignorant platforms. So, and not even ignorant, just asinine platforms. So I think because of that, and then, when you look at Hollywood and you look at the culture and the people behind it, I mean, I look at, I'm not even gonna go that route, but I'm gonna just say I looked at a lot of artists growing up, right? And we didn't know that they were gay, but everybody else knew that they were gay. And then as time went on, we were like, yo, I think so-and-so might not, really be singing to me when they sing in these songs, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it was still like that level of discreet. It was that level of respect, right? You know what I'm saying? And it came with a lot of different artists, the artist from Queen, Liberace, you know what I'm saying? you know, other artists. So it's like, you know, Elton John, you know, it's kind of like, you know, people give people their time, especially, you know, during that 80s time, when it was time to like come out, or let me see, you know, or have any kind of experience that was outside of a monogamous relationship, you know, whether it be being with a man, having multiple females. I remember when Madonna was open about it, there was a big thing around that, you know, when she was dating Dennis Rodman, and then there was a chance that he was dressing like a woman and he kissed a man, but he's a basketball player. You know, all of that was like very taboo. It was like, oh my God, you don't want to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that come with a lot of the different labels. So yeah, society made it easier for those things to open up because of those artists and, you know, those things happening. But, you know, just because they claiming that they own Strictly Dickly, that don't mean they ain't lick no kitty.
Right. And I guess it's the
So,
same way, just because niggas claiming this monogamous,
Okay.
niggas just out here, you know, doing what they feel is a natural fit. And honestly, I just feel like I always wondered, like, so if it's a 50 men and 100 women, like,
but
so what? Fuck the other 50?
you know, it's not as though through the beginning of time that there's always been more women than men. Actually, it was the other way around. There was actually, you know, more men than women. That's why you see those pictures and things where you see a group of men and you see a woman climbing or whatever, and they're all around the woman, and those Victorian pictures and those different things. There was a time where there was more men because what? Women died at childbirth. You know, life was tougher, you know, physically. There were things, women and children tend to die more, those kind of things, you know, based on, you know, lifestyles and different things like that. It's not always in the whole history that there was always more women than men around. Also, those things contributed to also your children died more. So people wanted to have more children. So they needed maybe more wives because your wives are more likely to die during childbirth or have something like that. So there were like other like life situations that also had polygamy and those things be a necessary part of your society, you know. And then of course, even like now you're saying with the more, maybe there is a reason for polygamy with more women than men in terms of maybe women having a husband or having a whatever. I know those were part of some of the African traditions. You know, your husband might die, and so your brother might take your
Yeah,
wife as his wife. It would not be a necessarily sexual relationship, but they would take care of the woman, take care of the kids. If a woman in a village husband died, somebody may marry them. It didn't have necessarily a sexual piece to it, but it had a care piece to it. You understand?
Right.
So I think when we're speaking about polygamy, monogamy, and all these things, we also sometimes take historical context, right? There's historical context to reasons why things worked well, I think, or worked out in societies where women needed men to take care of them, or where you needed to work the land, or you needed to do all these things. It made sense to have more women, more kids, maybe because of those situations. Now, as we're moving into a different kind of society, you start asking yourself, besides the fact that there is more women than men, so they say, if, you know, will women want to be a part of those things now that, you know, them eating doesn't rely on it? You know what I mean? Their nitty gritty survival doesn't rely on it necessarily. When we start to speak about the hormonal thing that you're talking about, Sophie, that women let go when they're with men, also I ask the question of, does that hormonal feeling that she has when she sleeps with a man, does that allow her to want that man to be with someone else, or that allows her attachment to that man and wants that man only to be hers? Because then I'm like, does the hormonal thing prove that polygamy is something that you should be doing? Or does it prove that this hormonal thing is released and now this woman's attached to you and now she only wants you and she may only want you to be with her? right? What I was also wondering is when, you know, people speak upon women as though men, they always say it's like, it seems as though men have this natural thing to want to be with women, to have more than one woman. But I think people should need to beg to think of whether women actually have those same urges or that same thought process or that same inner thing, but are conditioned from birth to not do that. And is that nurture or nature? Because when I look at sexual situations, when a woman has a sex with a man, he usually gets tired and sleep. She can move on to somebody else. She usually gets energy. So that means to me, if you're with one partner and then now you sleep with that one partner and now you're knocked out, but I'm hyped and I have energy. Now my body doesn't necessarily have me fall asleep necessarily. You know, I might want to go again.
That was like the appetizer.
You know, now does that biologically mean that I have a higher sex drive? That I need more than one partner?
Or maybe the nigga ain't make you come.
No, it has nothing to really do with that.
It got nothing to do with that, boo-boo.
You know, because even if you relate that back to nature, you know, you have certain animals with a female, you know, it's like the males have to go around and show and give a show, right? And, you know, it's a season. So every day she's picking a new one and she going to smash every one that she picked that day. And with the one with the best semen, that's the one that wins. May the best one win. So she the only one, you know, so it's equal in that way.
That's another part of the biological that I didn't talk about, which is that with one interaction, that man impregnates that woman. She's pregnant for the next 9 months. That man within those 9 months can impregnate 9,000 women, while this woman can only carry this seed for 9 months. You feel what I'm saying? So to me, biologically, just scientifically, it says to me that a woman's not really made to do that. Now I could be wrong. I'm speaking to two women.
I think you know what I think a part of it too is the reason why a man can't wrap his mind around it is because it's his ego. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but at some point, a man is a man.
If a man was to actually accept that a woman is okay with moving on, and you know yes, we are conditioned to be nurturing. Yes, you know, females are conditioned to be, you know, committed, right?
I don't think females have been females in a long time, but go ahead.
I mean, but let's not judge it generationally. Let's just talk about what the general conditions are, right? Even though the general conditions could change now in this time that we're in, right? But back then, even when we grew up, it was to be a nurturer, you know, to take care of your partner, whatever, even if you chose to be independent and all of that. At the same time, I think it would be hard for a man to really accept that, no, yes, I can fuck you and not really want to, you ain't the only one I want to be with, or you're not the one I want to be with. And on the other side of that too is that, yeah, a man can have sex with a woman and there's a possibility that he can't impregnate her. But there's also a possibility that her body can reject that nigga's sperm. Okay. And that's what I mean by may the best man and may the best sperm win, because we, you know, yeah, the hope is that she will get pregnant. But if you ain't the one that got, you know, that opened up that spot,
but
the next person did.
Well, that's what I was saying, as far as the strong male should be the one to get the pussy. I mean, part of my vulgarness, but it should be him. It shouldn't be based on, well, he's the stronger male, but this one is available.
No, but you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, every woman's right to survival and their need and what they see for their need for themselves and, you know, their child to be or whatever is different. That's the same reason why people go into marriages for different reasons. Some people go into marriages for love. Other people go into marriages for business. other people go into marriage for security. You know what I'm saying? And you know, for knowing that you might ride or die or whatever. It don't even matter if you with 115 other bitches. As long as my money is right and you know everything is set, we good. So you know that is the personal, you know, perception, you know, that you can't take from every individual female. And that's subjective as well, because I might see LeBron James as being a strong male where somebody else might see Terry Lewis. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what the fuck is that about? Again, perception. You know what I'm saying? What we gonna do? Free will.
I mean, it I mean, it's a very loaded conversation, but I'm just saying that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's loaded because it's very personal. You know, it's personal to people, and then it's like society's point of view, and then all the other things that's true inside of it. But I would just take it back. If let's think about like certain African societies. I think I was telling you this as like men would have more than one wives, right? But then before Islam and certain Christianity and certain things like that, they would only pass down their wealth to their sisters or brothers' children that were by their mother, not by just any wife that the father may have had, you know, their half brothers or sisters or the father's kids or whatever. And I think that's because even in those primitive societies, they understood, you know, that women probably had more than one man, even though they were married to them, even though they were whatever wife and they were taking care of all their needs or whatever the question may be. You're talking about primitive, pre-Islam. You know, you're talking about primitive societies where wealth is passed on to only your sibling that was by your mother, that you saw that your mother had them, so you knew that they were biologically, you know, related to you, as in the same way as in that same society, your brother's children would be considered like, and that's, I'm not even gonna get into that. But anyway, so if the society felt that's necessary in those primitive societies, I think that's based on the fact that they may have understood that even though these people are their wives or whatever the question may be, they knew that they were probably sexual beings or different things are going on. And so to make sure that their wealth passed on to whoever is really biologically related to them, they passed it on to their brother and sister's children, who would buy their male in particular by their mother. So if I think that men want to believe that women are you know, inherently monogamous and want to be a one man, but I really don't believe that's true.
Okay, y'all would know more than me.
I mean,
I think people choose. I think people are raised certain ways. I think people have individual beliefs or things they believe in or they want to do. But do I think it's naturally that way? I don't.
Okay. And I'm gonna say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.
All right. What is your opinion on it, fellow viewers?
Yeah, let us know.
Please, let us know what your view is.
Yeah.
Please put it in the comment section. Monogamy versus polygamy. I cannot wait to read this.
For real. I'm gonna respond.
What team you got? Do you got a team? Do you want a team? Let's start putting that together. But on a good note, thank you for another good night, good conversation. Thank you, beautiful people. Thanks for being on the panel. And yeah, have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Peace.
Later, Brooklynites.